I am the face that runs the place. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour live from A2DRadio.com. We are live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. Brought to you by the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. I am Matt Sassuti, along with the Darkwing, Brian Daly.
And I'm the champ that runs the camp.
And we are live from the Mount Ephraim BMW of Atlantic City Studios on A2DRadio.com. It's time to talk about some hockey.
Yes.
Yeah, Fantasy Dominance was a little bit earlier, but now the football is out. It's now time for us to get right into hockey. And let's get started with talking about the Flyers and Anthony Stolarz. He has finally made his professional debut, and he actually didn't do all that bad. He did get scored on 3 times, but he did get a win. That's the important thing. He managed to get a win, and the Flyers defeated the Calgary Flames 5-3 to make up for what was a very embarrassing loss to the New York Rangers and also a heartbreaking loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning earlier on in the week. Flyers were able to recover from that. Hopefully they can continue recovering from that and prepare for Boston tonight. That's not going to be an easy matchup at all. We also have our Twitter poll question. Is Anthony Stolarz going to start tonight coming off of this win? Is Hack still going to say, you know what? Let's do it. Let's see how far we can go with Stoley before it's time to take him out and put Mason back in. We'll see what Hackstall's thinking about there. But first, Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm a little tired. This gloomy weather's really bringing me down today, but I'm doing good, Matty. I'm here.
All right. Well, we'll do a quick review of the Flyers games in the week that was. First, we'll start off with the most recent victory against the Calgary Flames. Game opened up a little auspiciously. TJ Brody got a shorthanded goal 7 minutes into the game. And then after that, Michael Raffl tied it up later on in the first period, ending the first. The second period was then rounded up with Jake Voracek getting his 8th goal of the season in just 52 seconds into the second period on a power play. And then Chris Van de Velde getting his 4th, and then Wayne Simmons getting his 11th to make it a 4-1 Flyers lead. Unfortunately, though, the Flyers' leaky defense came back to haunt them a little bit. Matthew Tkachuk picking right up where his daddy left off, scoring his 6th goal of the year on a power play. Then Roman Lyubimov scored a goal for the Flyers to make it 5-2 at least, but Alex Chasen was able to score on shorthanded to pull the Flames within 2, but that's as far as the Flames would get. The Flyers would hold on and claim victory over the Calgary Flames, who are not having the best of years, to say the least, right now, to start off their season.
Right, they've been kind of a disappointment, 10-13-1, at least the last couple years. I feel like this team has a lot of talent. This team has a lot of young talent, and they're built to be a winner. They finally get themselves a decent goalie, and they're not really playing all that well up in front of them.
No, it's weird. It really is a shame. Brian Elliott going over there, you figured that was going to, fix all of the problems that Calgary had previously had. And unfortunately, whatever happened to Calgary's defense, it's really just been killing them for the most part. Their offense is still dangerous, but their defense has been just mired in mediocrity and has absolutely failed them for the most part.
No, I agree. I mean, the Flames were expected to be one of the top teams in their division, and I kind of still agree. They still have absolutely plenty of time to do that. They are sitting in 5th place in the Pacific Division. They're only 2 points back on Anaheim. So, I mean, clearly they're not nearly out of it. They're 25 games played. They are 5-4-1 in the last 10. So, I mean, it's still early enough for this team to turn it around.
Yeah, it is true. It's just that, they either got to make it happen now because they only have till the trade deadline. And once the trade deadline passes, and the All-Star break is done, that's when you're going to realize, okay, is this team going to make it or is this team just going to eat it real bad? Well, you're going to find that out real fast.
Well, here's one of the big things that I think that is really killing Calgary right now. They're 3-7 at home.
Ooh. That's
3-7 at home. They have 57 goals for and 77 against.
Wow.
They just need to get the offense going. The offense is stagnant, and they need to win at home.
Yeah, they do. That it has to happen. They need to do it right now. This is, I understand that we're still early in the season, and we are, but a quarter of the season is over. A quarter of the season. Let that sink in for a quick second. You only have how many quarters of a hockey season? You only have 4. So, 1 quarter is gone. That should pretty much be a wake-up call. Hey, we're getting close. That second quarter is going to end before you know it. And then you're down to the final 3. And if you've put yourself that far out of the standings, then you're basically just wasted another year. And then Calgary fans are going to wonder, what the hell's going on? We were supposed to be a good team. What happened? Team that beat Vancouver in its first playoff berth in how many years? Yeah, they didn't get past the second round, but they made a statement. I mean, I thought they were supposed to be doing some big things by now.
I mean, they had very high expectations for the way that this team was, again, built up. You got Sean Monahan, Johnny Gaudreau, who's out with an injury. And that kind of brings your offense down a little bit, but they're just not performing well at home. 7-6-2 on the road. You gotta take care of that home cooking.
Yeah, you do. Absolutely.
Protect that home ice, and they're not doing that.
Yeah, that is true. They sit 5th in the wild card standings. And not out of it, like you said, but definitely need to turn it around and get it going big time. Or other words, it's going to be another long season to be a Calgary Flames fan. But nonetheless, though, the Flyers getting that victory against the Calgary Flames put them at 10-10-3. They're back to 500. Can they get over 500 finally is going to be the real question here. They need to. I'm going to say this right now. The Flyers have to get above 500, and they have to get above 500 by a couple of games, maybe even a couple more. Why? They need to get a streak going. They have not really gotten any decent streak going whatsoever. They need to get a few wins on top of each other and really start making this season work. It's okay to take a loss. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not going to win all 82. No. But get win streaks going. Get it going. I know it's a young team. I know they're leaky. But you have to do it. If you don't, you're going to sit at 500 all year. You're going to constantly, at the very last second where it looks like you're going to pull the plug, you're going to plug it back in and try to get a little bit more power out of it. Yeah, is the wild card very close this year? It is. But you won't really be there to talk about it if you're only at 500 come the end of the year.
Well, you don't want to just be an average hockey team. And, yeah, they're in a retooling stage, but they're playing better hockey than anybody expected them to play this year. I don't think anyone really saw them being where they are right now, especially with the changes that they've made.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, too, the way that this team's been in transition, like we were saying with the retooling, a lot of people pretty much expected them to be like, well, this team's probably not going to be as tough as they were because they're changing a lot of things around. And not only that, though, they're playing good hockey. Why not show the whole world why we're playing good hockey? Why not? Because the problem is that then it says to them, it's like it was a fraud, that it didn't really actually happen. The Flyers aren't even taking advantage of the good hockey they're playing right now. They really aren't. They're allowing themselves to lose games. And it's true. They are allowing themselves to lose games. Look back at the Tampa game. They had Tampa beat. They had Tampa's ass beat. And then at the last minute, the defense had to pull their stupid shit again, and Tampa wound up shoving it right back down their throats.
And you know what it was? And we can go more into depth in that. And you stole my point. It's defense. It's the reason why they're not above 500. The reason why they're not being able to put a lengthy win streak together. They don't have. I don't think they have the right defensive pieces in place yet. Right now, it's just bodies just taking up a spot.
Well, obviously, yeah. You obviously have the guys like Andrew McDonald and stuff like that. Those players have got to go. Absolutely have to leave the system.
Hint, hint. Andrew McDonald might not be protected come expansion draft.
Very true. Hey, we'll give him to you. We'll even give him to you with some cash incentives. We really don't want him back. That's the biggest problem that's hurting the Flyers right now is there's still some players on this defense that are just not positioning themselves properly and are just not handling their business properly and are not playing their position all that well at all.
Brandon Manning.
Yeah, I mean, Manning, he had some flashes of brilliance here or there offensively. But, the biggest problem that he's having is defense. And the problem is, what's your position?
Well, that's the problem. Brandon Manning, 3 times in the Tampa Bay game, was out of position and played just poor.
Yeah.
The first goal, which made it, I believe, 2-2,
Yeah.
instead of lifting the stick and tying up the offensive player, he decided to slash down and put Killorn's stick in position.
Yep, absolutely.
The second one, I believe he was he put himself out of position skating poorly. So that hurts. And then the Callahan goal was another situation where he should have tied the stick up, and he just didn't.
No, he didn't. And that's the most annoying part of this game, of that game for me, was the fact that if it wasn't for the defense, the Flyers would have beaten Tampa Bay. And it's not the fact of beating Tampa Bay, because that is a big win. But you get 2 straight victories on the road. You go in against the Rangers hot. You aren't facing them after coming off of a demoralizing, heartbreaking loss. I'm not saying we would have beaten the Rangers with 2 straight wins, but we would have fared, I think, a little bit better had we at least had some momentum going into that game. Sadly, we had absolutely not a lick of momentum going into that Black Friday showdown, and it showed, man. The Rangers absolutely shat all over the Flyers in the first periods, and then slowly in the third period, the Flyers mounted a comeback. Unfortunately, though, it wasn't enough, and that's, again, the comeback kid mentality. It's great if it works, but it's not going to work on every team. The Rangers being one of those teams.
A team like the New York Rangers or Flyers have to come out and have a really good first period, set the momentum. They don't do that. They don't do that against many teams. The teams that they have wound up doing that on, teams like Winnipeg, you've gone out and you've blown the team out because you played almost a full 60-minute game.
Yep.
Now, I get it that you're not going to get the full 60 minutes every game, and that's fine. You got to at least put good 40 minutes out, and that first 20 minutes has to be one of them.
The important thing is, though, you have to play solid hockey. You could play your A in maybe a first or a third period. But if you're playing B on the second period, play your B game. Don't play your C, your D, or your passable game. Don't do that. Because that's what seems what the problem is. There comes to that period. It's more the first, really. The first period has always been tricky for the Flyers in this season. They start off just so sluggish, and it just feels like, they're just asking to get scored on. They're asking to have to build themselves back up. Then the second period, they change the game around, and they start to play better. And then the third period, they kind of take over a little bit. Okay, that's fine and all, but if your first periods are your sluggish periods, why aren't you putting at least your B effort out there? It really looks like they're putting like a C effort out there every single time. It's terrible. Between the sloppy passing, pad defense, what is Mace and Stolarz supposed to do? Or even Neuwirth. What the hell are they supposed to do? They can only stop so many shots.
No, I agree with you 100%, Matty. You can't. You got to have your defense step up there. You got to play strong first period. That's the way you got to come out. The second period, yeah, maybe a little more sluggish. But the way the Flyers play third periods, they're good. But 9 times out of 10, unfortunately, they're playing from behind.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing that was the killer of it is you go into games like Florida. Florida is the picture-perfect game that you want from Philadelphia. The Flyers had maybe one real bad breakdown that led to a goal being scored. One. And it was a deflection goal anyway. The rest of the game, though, the Flyers were all over Florida. They took advantage of Florida's injuries. But more importantly, though, the way they played that game, that's the way the Flyers can play hockey. The problem is you see that flashes of that. Then you see them play well against Tampa, and then they give up a lead at the last minute and lose the game. Like, really? Like, what are we doing? I mean, what the hell are we doing? Are we even trying? Are we even going out there with even a fraction of thought of, hey, maybe we should play, I don't know, hockey? Maybe we should play our freaking positions? Maybe we should, maybe we should give a fuck. I don't usually say that, but you know what? At times, I swear to God, the defense looks like it's out there with a stick up its ass, not wanting to play the goddamn game. Play your position. Get back on defense. Stop trying to score goals if you don't have the talent to do it. Or if you're Shane Gostisbehere, don't shoot, because apparently you can't hit the goddamn net.
Goes back to what I was saying earlier, and it's what I was saying last week. Defense is the problem.
It is. It's clear as day the problem. The defense ruined an opportunity for the Flyers to get a win on Tampa. Against New York, they were terrible. And then you go into a game against Calgary, they still gave up 3 goals to Calgary. Yes, did they win? Fine. But you still gave up 3 goals. You shouldn't really be doing that, quite frankly.
No, I agree, but a win's a win is a win.
It is, and I'm not going to harken on that too much. But again, I do have to point it out. The leakiness is still there. Win is a win, but we'll put that in the past. But biggest problem I have is we're facing Boston. And Boston's actually had a pretty decent year. They're having a pretty good run right now. And their offense is actually doing real well. So that's something that I think the Flyers need to take note of. When's this going to be solved? Hey, Hack, when the hell are you going to put this defense together so it doesn't do that anymore? I mean, yeah, I know you're not working with the greatest tools in the world, but you have decent enough players to where they can at least play their position properly. What's up? What's going on? Need something.
Well, it's like you said, they don't have the best tools in the world. Your players are only as good as your defense will only be as good as your system is.
Yeah,
not
true.
saying that Hackstall has a bad system.
No.
I just don't think he has the players that are right for the system.
Well, yeah, I will agree with you a little bit on that one because, there are certain players that are showing they do not thrive well in his system at all. But other players that are thriving well in the system are guys like Mark Streit, who is an older veteran player, but yet look at the goals he's scoring. Look at the contribution he's made. And he's actually played very well defensively to go along with it. So how come it seems like a veteran like him, he adapts himself so well to that system? What the hell's up with everybody else? You also look at guys like, Provy's doing fine. He's definitely narrowed down his rookie mistakes, which is, I'm very happy to see. That's absolutely glorious. I'm very happy with that.
By the way, this is a little belated because we only have one show a week. Congratulations to Ivan Provorov on scoring your first NHL goal in that game against Tampa.
Absolutely. Congratulations. Hopefully many more in your future. Probably not too many, but still, hopefully plenty more to come.
For defenseman, 10 goals.
10 goals is good. That's a great year. Yep, absolutely a wonderful year. But nonetheless, though, we do have players in place, but there's just those other players that are just lagging behind. And then that also begs the question of, why not just bring up the rookies? I'm just saying, the way this team's playing right now, it's basically the same as what we would be playing if we had Sanheim and Moran up at 500 hockey.
Listen, I'm with you. I've been with you and Rob, who I hope is having an awesome birthday.
Happy birthday, by the way.
I've been with you guys. These guys need to come up. They have their time, but apparently the coaching is seeing something in these guys that, it's proving that they're not quite there yet.
Well,
And I said this last week, and I'm going to say this again. The Flyers have no real shutdown defenseman. I think Sanheim can bring some of that, and I know Sam Moran is going to be able to do that.
Yeah, that is the crux of the situation. Not a whole lot of shutdown defensemen. You see Gudas trying to be that way, but he had a bad game against New York. And then to add to it, he has looked good though on other games. So let's not knock him too much. He's tried to play that role.
Yeah, you're not going to get a perfect 82 games out of everybody.
No, true. But again, though, what Gudas is doing though, he hasn't been doing bad. So not the worst in the world. Compared to where he was last year, it could have been worse. I can live with that. But we do need better shutdown defensemen. Better shutdown defensemen, like you were saying, with Sam Moran and Sanheim. We do need that. We really need that in the system right now, because with this defense, we may miss the playoffs. And I'm just going to say that right now. This team at 500 misses the playoffs. Because the Eastern Conference is too good this year. If you're at 500, you're almost damn near bottom of the barrel.
I didn't have any expectations for the Flyers making the playoffs this year anyway. So, last year was pure luck. But, they're not a bad team. They have a very bright future. They just need to put all the pieces in place.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, though, I can't get too angry about it, even though I did get a little angry about it.
A little?
A lot, okay. It is a transitional year. That was what we knew was going to happen. There was going to be a transitional year where we weren't going to see the best hockey from this team because we're still putting it all together. And we really are. It's still a building block. But we're that much closer to it. You can really see that this team has got a big, bright future ahead, like you've been saying. The way they played against the Western Conference teams was phenomenal. The way that they've been playing against the Eastern Conference teams, even though they've been leaky, they've been playing very well. They've been competitive against the tough teams. The only time they really ever got blown out, I mean, yeah, the score may tell you different, was against the Rangers. I mean, yeah, the score tells you differently, but that was a blowout.
Scores can always be deceiving.
Yeah, but still. And then Tampa. That was the only other blowout that they had. But overall, though, it's not bad. I mean, it could be a hell of a lot worse. This team could be bottom of the barrel with the way this transitional year's been working. But we'll talk more about that on the other side. We'll also talk about around the league. But first, I want to talk to you guys about the Scanzano Sports Center. Actually, correction, Liberty Event Rentals. They're located at 2154 East Cambria Street in Philadelphia, PA. Located 267-314-7368. You can get them for tables, chairs, tents, linens, anything for your party or event needs. They're located at www.libertyeventRentals.com. This is the Hockey Happy Hour, and we will be right back after this. A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
You're listening to the Hockey Happy Hour, only on A2DRadio.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. Speaking of which, have you ever wanted the ultimate driving experience? Well, then go to BMW of Atlantic City. They're easy to get to. They're minutes off at exit 37 of the Parkway, located at 6037 Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 609-568-9200. They are online at www.bmwofatlanticcity.com. And now we dive into Around the League as we start to travel through. Mr. Rob Povia, who is, of course, MIA, usually has our topics. But since he is enjoying his birthday, by the way, happy birthday again, brother. See you next week. We will dive on in, and we'll see what we can find, Brian.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, all right.
Game.
So let's get started up with this. A little bit of rumors rolling around. As always, these are rumors, so take them with a grain of salt.
You know I love my rumors.
Of course. Well, these are 5 players that have been debated that could be dealt by the trade deadline. And they started it off with Evander Kane of the Buffalo Sabres.
Okay.
Now, I will say this, though. I really wouldn't want Evander Kane because the guy has a complex, a really bad complex. You know, no matter where he goes, he's a cancer. I don't know what it is. Maybe Dustin Bufflin rubbed off on him when he was in Winnipeg, which probably wouldn't surprise me because Dustin Bufflin's a piece of shit. But, scumbag. But anyway, with that being said, though, I don't like the idea of Evander Kane being on my team. I can understand why Buffalo doesn't want him, though.
I mean, Evander Kane, his only real issue is his attitude and the fact that he has so much baggage behind him.
Yep.
But he's a talented player. I'm not going to take any of that away from him, and I know you're probably not.
No.
But there are teams that are interested in trading from him. The Islanders are one. I believe there was almost a deal in place. I forget where he was going. I think he was going to wind up going to Montreal, but don't quote me on that. I'm going to see if I can try and find it, but. He'd be a good asset to a team minus his baggage and what he brings to the locker room.
Yeah, see, that's the biggest problem, though, and that's my biggest fear of bringing a guy like Evander Kane onto the team. You know, just like, yeah, okay, he's talented and all, but he's got problems, a lot of problems. And the problem of that is he doesn't leave it at the door when he comes in. He allows it to get into the locker room. He allows it to affect his play on ice. That can't happen. You have to let your personal baggage be checked at the door. Listen, I know life sucks, but you cannot let that bother you. Or your life might be great. It probably is because you're getting paid how much money to play hockey. But your attitude has to also be checked at the door. Your ego has to be checked at the door. Not too many people want to put up with that in the NHL. I mean, I know football players are known for it, baseball players too, basketball players. But this is the NHL. A lot of times if a guy has a big ego, a lot of people like to knock that right out of you immediately.
Well, I mean, I agree. And it was the Canucks, by the way.
The Canucks.
It was the Canucks.
The Canucks with their brilliant decisions that they have made in recent years. Where are they standing again?
I mean, there's a lot of, like, I like to use Bleacher Report for my rumor stuff because they usually have a lot of fun stuff on here. They do. They have the Islanders pursuing Evander Kane, who we were just talking about. It has something about maybe Shane Gostisbehere. I don't know if he's on that list.
No, I don't have Shane Gostisbehere on that one.
Yeah, there's Gostisbehere on this one.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's actually from Broad Street Hockey. They're usually pretty good about stuff. I like that.
Usually. Again, though, I still think that's not a good idea. I mean, I understand we got talent, but I would never, ever pull a trigger on a deal that sent Shane Gostisbehere somewhere else because he is a bona fide star player. And if you go ahead and you take Shane Gostisbehere and you move him out of the Flyers organization and you bring in somebody that doesn't appeal or nor does he live up to the hype, and you don't get anybody that lives up to the hype, what are you doing? Are you really rebuilding this team or are you just sinking us in a deeper hole? You know, you got to ask yourself. That's a very tricky deal to pull off, and that's not something that I like. I don't like playing games with that because that could come back to bite you bigger than trading a veteran player away. Trading a veteran player away for picks or younger players, you know what you're getting out of it. When you trade young players away and you're hoping to get some talent back that's young enough but is reaching their potential right now, that's something that's very, very scary. That is a very dangerous red flag to pull.
I mean, granted, we did talk about this last week, and I do remember saying that I don't think the Flyers have any intention on trading him at all at any point. There are some interesting news and notes on here, though. Brandon Pruss leaves the NHL to go play in Germany. Good luck over there.
Yeah, good luck over in the DEL.
Scumbag. Canucks signed Ben Hutton to a 2-year contract extension.
Okay.
Which could be a good move for
potentially
Vancouver. Avalanche looking to trade for a defenseman, which would be kind of good for them because I think that's the one thing that's really been hurting them.
Yeah, their defense is just awful.
And they have like 2 really good defensemen, and that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And just pretty much just after we signed off last week, the Sharks signed Brett Burns to an 8-year extension.
Wow. I mean, Brett Burns proved a lot last year. He came out of the gate just firing on all cylinders. That's
he did.
Pretty crazy.
That's what he does. I mean, he's a right winger or a left winger. He's a winger. I'll say that.
Well,
he's a winger turned defenseman.
He's a winger converted to a defenseman, yeah, which, quite frankly, is a blessing in disguise for San Jose. They absolutely need him to be phenomenal. And he has done very, very well. So even this year, San Jose's still kicking ass right now. But anyway.
Yeah, that they are.
Moving on with Evander Kane and Gosper rumors and stuff like that. Next up on the list is Arizona Coyotes centerman Martin Hansel, who is a veteran player who's been around for a little while. With that kind of trade, I would expect a team that's going to be a playoff contender would most likely want a Martin Hansel. Because really, would a young or rebuilding team want a veteran like Hansel? I mean, yeah, he can add some veteran leadership, but it's kind of one of those things like, yeah, he's an older player, though. What else would he really contribute besides leadership? You
would send him to a contender.
That was what I was saying. You would clearly send it to a playoff team.
Yeah, you would obviously send him to a contender. He has very little value on a team like Arizona. He's going to have very little value on a team that's in a situation like Arizona.
Or like the Islanders, for that matter, who are currently in the same spot.
Well, sort of. They sort of are. I mean, I think they could benefit from having a guy like Hansel more than a team like Arizona or, Philly could benefit.
Philly could. I mean, he could make that'd be interesting if he made his return to Philadelphia. He hasn't played on the Flyers since the Flyers had black jerseys as their home. So it's been a
Martin
while.
Hansel was a Flyer?
He was. He was a Flyer way back in the day. And he was only a Flyer for a very short period of time.
That's probably why I don't remember.
Yeah, he was like a Flyer for like 2 years. That was it. And then I think he went to the Devils. So
I'm going to look that up. What do you got next on that list over there, Matty?
Next on the list goes to Pittsburgh Penguins goalie Marc-Andre Fleury. And we've been talking about Fleury forever here. It seems like we've been talking at him ad nauseum, as Rob Povia would say. I got to wonder, would Pittsburgh actually trade him, or would they just let him get picked in the expansion draft?
I think it's a kind of a mix between the two. I think it could go either way. You can get more for Fleury in a trade, especially with the way he's playing. He's been playing pretty well. But it all depends on what Pittsburgh wants to do. I mean, they don't have Zakhoff anymore, so you don't really have anybody backing them up. So if you lose him to an expansion draft, you're really not going to gain anything for him. So, I mean, at least if you lose him, you can at least try and get something back for him. And I think that's something huge that Pittsburgh needs to try and do. And I think they'll be better off trading him.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. It's one of those, more intriguing ones. Oh, and I was actually incorrect. Hansel's only played for the Coyotes. Oh, you know what? It was another Hansel. It was, what's his name? Shit. It was another Hansel. He played, I think it was with an E. Never mind. That was my bad on that one. But Martin Hansel, he's always played for the Coyotes. But you're right, though, with Fleury. Fleury, with that being said, he's still a very talented goalie, obviously. And you could get a couple, maybe a few real good years out of him because he's not that old. So if I was Pittsburgh, I'd really just let him ride and then get him picked in the expansion draft. Because you know what? What happens if Matt Murray goes down with an injury?
Mm-hmm.
That would be I would go cautiously on this one. I would say, you know what? Let's let Fleury stay on the team for this year. and let's see if Murray is healthy throughout the rest of the year. I wouldn't necessarily trade him at the deadline unless you're getting a goalie in return. But why would you trade goalie for goalie? I don't think too many teams really do that.
I mean, technically, Anaheim did that this year.
True, but it's not done very often. It's just very rarely done.
No, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly. You want to. What does happen if Matt Murray goes down?
Yeah, you got to ask yourself that question. In my opinion, the safest bet is just have Fleury. Have Fleury and have him do what he does. What's the worst? You guys don't win the Stanley Cup. You only won it last year. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if Pittsburgh waits another year for another Stanley Cup. So,
I mean, it's not necessarily waiting. It's just, that's the goal. They put themselves in a really good position to win for multiple years.
Yeah.
And, being put in a situation that they're in, having to protect certain players from the expansion to Las Vegas, it's stuff you got to worry about. Do you want to just give them up, or do you want to try and trade them and just give them up and try and get something in return?
Yeah, you do got to ask yourself that question. I mean, what would you really get for Fleury? I mean, do you think you get picks most likely? But
you would definitely get a really good pick for him.
But
probably second or third rounder.
Probably, but you wouldn't get really any players that are, gonna be huge.
No, you trade him to a team that needs a goalie. Maybe get like a solid backup in return.
Yeah, true. You could do that. I mean, you could send him to Calgary. No, because they got Brian Elliott.
I mean, if you think about it, you could send him possibly to Edmonton and get Talbot in return.
Yeah,
he'd be a good backup.
He is a good, solid backup. I mean, although Talbot's done very well for Edmonton, so
he has, and I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be a starter or not, or I'm just speculating.
Yeah, no, I got you. It's an interesting debate because Pittsburgh's in an interesting spot with Fleury. They could either let the expansion draft take him, or they could just have him trade at the deadline and try to see what they could get for him. But anyway, moving on to next one up on the list, Tampa Bay's netminder Ben Bishop. Now, this is another big one because Tampa Bay has used Ben Bishop as their starter for several years until Andrei Vasilevsky showed up out of nowhere and pretty much took it and said, "No, bitch, this is my job."
That's basically what he said.
Do you see Bishop getting traded at the deadline? Because he's another one that you could think of. He might be open for expansion. And I think about this, though. If the Golden Knights manage to not only pull Fleury, but Bishop, that's a nasty goaltending tandem right there. I mean, say what you will about Bishop and Fleury. That's not a bad tandem to start your franchise off with, to have those two guys as your netminders.
Oh, hell no. I agree. That's a great tandem to start any expansion team with. But of the two goalies, I see Ben Bishop being the guy that winds up being picked up in an expansion. Because I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
I think Fleury's the more likely guy to get traded. Bishop does have a lot to offer, though.
Yeah, he does. And I think also he's younger, so there is that. There's a little bit more time when it comes to that as well. Maturation-wise, he really doesn't need to mature at all. He handles himself very well in net. I mean, the only reason why he's not starter in Tampa Bay is because they have Andrei Vasilevsky. That's the only reason why.
And they're platooning. I think they're almost like every other game with each other, something like that.
Yeah, they kind of have a tandem thing going down there in Tampa Bay. But we all know where their loyalties lie. When it comes down to it and the chips are down, they're going Vasilevsky, most likely, out of the two. I mean, yeah, you could make an argument for Bishop, but I think they'd put more trust in Vasilevsky.
I think Vasilevsky's the one that's playing the better hockey right now.
He is. He is playing right now, and you go with the hot hand, obviously. That's why you see him more often than not. But again, though, playoff-wise, I think, Bishop has more experience, and he did get the Lightning into the Stanley Cup Finals. But Vasilevsky really handled himself very well last year. The only reason why Tampa lost in the Eastern Conference Finals was because they faced the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's the really only reason why. If they had faced any other team, Tampa would have won and moved on. If Tampa had faced Washington, sorry, Washington, Tampa's winning that series and going on to the Stanley Cup Finals again.
And Vasilevsky was actually the goaltender in that conference finals.
Yeah,
he didn't do bad, but you could definitely tell there were nerves.
There were, and Murray did win out on the end of the day on that one. But also, not only that, Pittsburgh's team was just They were on freaking fire. You couldn't stop them even if you tried. The HBK line was just killing it every night. There was nothing you could do to stop it. Really, there wasn't.
Love Nick Benino.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's not a Duck anymore.
No, but he's got his name on the cup, so I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm not. Anyway, moving on. So, on to our final one on the rumor mill, and that is defenseman Dennis Wideman of the Calgary Flames. This is an interesting idea for Calgary to trade. Would you see Calgary even making deals? I mean, I think they have to do something, because this isn't good. Calgary having a year like this for the second time, something's bad. Something's wrong. Maybe they do need to trade a guy like Wideman and just say, you know what, let's shake things up here because you know what? Whatever we're doing right now, it's not working. Something needs to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed fast.
I don't know. I think he's one of the lone defensive players that they have that's actually been playing well, which, ironically enough, gives some trade value.
True.
But my ultimate question is, what do you trade him for? Do you trade him for a defenseman? Do you trade him for a forward? I don't think they really need the forward help.
Here's the thing, though. The forwards are already having trouble getting going out in Calgary. So even if you trade him for offense, you may take a gamble and try to get someone who can spark the offense, but you do sacrifice defense for that.
I agree, and that's kind of why I asked that question, because it's kind of turns into a double-edged sword unless they make some other trades at the deadline that winds up pulling in another defenseman.
That is true. I mean, they can still do that, too, because they have plenty of forward presence where they can sacrifice a forward and say, you know what, I don't want to do it, but I may have to do it, where we'll burn one of our forwards, trade him, get solid defensive at the other end, and then we'll also trade Wideman and get forward help and do plug and play. Because Calgary, like I said, Calgary's got to do something. This is actually kind of unacceptable for them to be having the year that they're having. With the team that they have, that's the point where you start taking some risks. And you got to say, you know what, we got to take some gambles here because shit's not going right now. Everything is going bad, and it's going bad fast.
No, I mean, I agree. But again, you finally get your goalie. And I thought they always had good goalies, but
well, they did have
finally get a good one, and
yeah, they did have Jonas Hiller, who wasn't bad. It just their defense was very lacking, and that's what really killed that tenure in Calgary, and that's what really killed Calgary in the long run, especially in the playoffs when they ran into Anaheim. The lack of defense really killed them at the end of the day.
Right.
But that is around the league. When we come back, we go back to the Flyers talk, and we take a look at the NHL standings, see where we're at, and see what the playoff picture looks like. Like I said, it might be early, but I feel like doing it, so we're going to do it.
Why not? It's fun.
Why not? It is totally fun. We're brought to you by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs, located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030. Email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com. We are the Hockey Happy Hour, and we'll be right back after this.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
You're listening to the Hockey Happy Hour, only on A2DRadio.com.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We are the Hockey Happy Hour live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. I'm Asasuti. That's Brian Daly, the Darkwing himself.
That's me.
And we are brought to you by Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030. Email them at sportsoutletnj or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com. And now back to the Flyers.
So how's your hand feel before we jump back to the Flyers?
Awesome. Anyway,
You've been doing that all day.
I know. Well, I had to step in and host Fantasy Dominance Now, which I was not expecting to do when I woke up this morning. So I actually honestly didn't think I was going to be hosting Fantasy Dominance Now. So, hey, you never know what 24 hours is going to bring to you. That's for sure.
No, but you did a good job.
I tried to. I don't know. But anyway.
Fine, whatever. Doubt yourself.
We are back, and now it's time to talk about the Flyers against Boston, as that is later tonight at 7:30. The Flyers face the Boston Bruins. And gotta ask, Mr. Daly, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think we're going to see a win, or do you think we're going to see a loss? It is in Philly, by the way, in case everybody was wondering.
I mean, it's a tough matchup. These two teams are pretty evenly matched. I give the edge to Boston in that. Tuukka Rask has been playing pretty well this season. But the offense isn't as consistent with Boston, just like Philadelphia. Defense isn't as strong, just like Philadelphia. I think we're going to see a very even game. I actually think this game has a lot of potential to go to overtime. I could see the Flyers winning in overtime.
I could. I mean, their road record is better than their home record. Their home record is 7-5-0. So that's pretty good walking into this. But they're 5-5 in their last 10. So
you're talking about Boston, right?
Yeah. So
okay.
I mean, they're coming off of a very odd stretch of games where they're playing at .500 hockey right now. They are +3 on the goal differential, but that's primarily because of Tuukka Rask. And it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. If Rask has a bad night, though, Flyers could really take advantage of that, but I don't expect him to. And real question is, who's the Flyers going to put in net? Are they going to put Mason in net, or are they going to go with Stoli again because Stoli got a win against Calgary? Now, call me crazy, but I say you do that. I say you put Stoli in net another time.
I mean, why not?
I mean, quite frankly, we got nothing to lose. Really, we don't. We're at 500. At some point, you got to take a gamble when you're at 500. Just say, you know what? Screw it. Throw the kid in there. Let's see what happens. If he loses, he loses. Guess what? If we would have lost with Mason anyway, let's go with it.
I have no problem with Stoley going in that. Numbers-wise, just looking at it, because I didn't get to see the game on Sunday, his numbers look pretty good. It didn't look like he played bad. I mean, obviously, more likely in the beginning of the game, nerves were a big part of the way he played, but from what I understand, he settled down as the game went on and he started to play his game.
Yeah, and that's the important thing, too, is if he can get that kind of, cold-blooded mentality that Mason does have. One thing that I've always loved about Mason is that Mason never gets shaken all that much. He's always kind of got that ice water going through his veins where it doesn't matter what happens. He just manages to make another great stop every time, It's just, that's one major thing that I love about Steve Mason. He's ice cold. That's why we call him Stone Cold Steve Mason. But anyway.
Just to give you a heads up on what the Flyers have up against them, if he's even starting, I don't know if they announced the starters yet or not. Tuukka Rask on the season is 12-4 with a 1.63 goals against and a 940 save percentage. He's back to the Tuukka of old.
Did Tuukka Rask just, substitute his modern-day self with his 2010 self? Because I swear to God, that's the Tuukka Rask we're dealing with right now. But with Rask being in net, that's what's going to make it very interesting to see if they put Stoley in net. It's going to be an interesting showdown because it'll be the second time he's facing a long-term vet, but it'll be the second time that he's facing a vet who's doing really well right now and is having a really good season. It's going to be an interesting duel if it winds up with those two, youth versus age, which is basically what mostly this game's going to be. Boston with its older players against Philly with its younger players. That's going to be an interesting matchup.
Well, let's put this to bed right now. Steve Mason will be getting the start for the Flyers. Yeah, the Phillies. Wow.
For the Phillies.
For the Phillies, yeah.
He throws a hell of a fastball. I've heard.
He does. No, Mason's in goal tonight.
All right.
On the plus side for the Flyers, though, Zdeno Chara and Jean-Michael Lyles are both out for this game.
Ooh, I like you. I like you a lot. That's some good news. I love it.
Odds are, from what I'm reading here, it's going to be Tuukka Rask in net.
No shocker.
Antoine Hudobin, who's their backup over there, has only played 3 games. So, I mean, it might be his time might be his turn.
I mean, it's a possibility.
But odds are it's going to be Tuukka.
It probably will be Tuukka, and the reason why is Boston currently is hunting at this time, and they want to take advantage of Tuukka's hot streak while they still have it. So you go with the hot hand. You got to go with Tuukka Rask. Until he starts having really bad games, you go with him. There's nothing else you could really do about it. So, and Boston currently right now is sitting 3rd in the wild card standings. So really, at the end of the day, it'd be kind of stupid of them not to put Rask in goal. I mean, they're 24 points. They're only 1 point behind New Jersey. So
I'm actually kind of excited for this game because it's going to be my first opportunity to really see David Backes as a Bruin.
Yeah, that is true. It's been a little bit, and David Backes was a big snag for Boston here. Let's see what he
for a
can
team that's supposedly against a cap.
True. Yeah, that is. Yeah, that you're right. That's very intriguing. But they did let up a lot of space with a lot of the trades that they did make. I mean, they got rid of Milan Lucic. They got rid of a lot of players.
Well, Lucic was gone a couple years ago.
No, but you see they were letting up cap space over these past couple of years. They traded to get high draft picks a couple years back. They've really have levied up a lot of cap space over the last few years. So Boston's been doing some kind of cap magic over the last couple of years to really try and get the players that they need. But
wow, this is interesting. They have the projected lineups for the Flyers.
Mm-hmm.
Rafael Giroux, Voracek on line 1.
Okay.
Konechny, Cousins, and Simmons on 2.
Wait a minute. What? Konechny, Cousins, and Simmons?
Uh-huh.
What?
Just wait. Reed, Belmar, and Weiss on line 3. This is going to throw you for a loop. Van de Velde, Shen, and Lubimov on line 4.
What?
I thought you'd enjoy that.
Shen on line 4? Are you kidding me?
Well, to be fair, Cousins is producing right now. Shen hasn't produced anything yet.
I got that, but line 4 with all the other grinders? I mean, not that Libimov and what's-his-face are grinders, but, still, line 4, I mean, I know Shen hasn't been producing that much, but he has contributed. I mean, seriously.
I kind of like it. He brings a little bit more of an edge to that fourth line, which is traditionally what that line should be.
I got you, but I don't know. I just don't like breaking up Simmons and Shen. I really don't like doing that. To me, that's because Shen and Simmons have always had a really good chemistry. I don't know.
I mean, Shen's sitting at 13 points on the season so far.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
That's not bad
I'm not
at
saying
all.
it is. I'm not saying it is, but I don't know if they're trying to maybe spread out some of the scoring. Because Anaheim did that last year, and they started to score a little bit more.
You know what? That's what it is. Yeah, I think you're right on there. I think Haxtell, that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get more offensive production out of this team.
Which is great because they need it.
They do need it. I mean, we started seeing a lot of offensive production last night or 2 nights ago. We want to see more of that tonight because you're going to need to do that against Boston. So
Definitely.
I mean, I'm scratching my head at it, but you know what? Haxtell's going to do what he does. He has been saying that no one's got a permanent spot. He has been saying, I'll move anybody. He proved it last year when he put Jake on the fourth line, albeit Jake deserved to be on the fourth line last year. We'll see what happens. I'll leave it to that. We'll see what happens with that.
I mean, I'm not against it. I thought it was interesting enough because I thought you would get a kick out of it.
I
like the idea though of spreading out your offense instead of putting everything onto 2 lines.
Yeah, I do
spread
hear
it out.
you don't want a 2 top heavy team because then the team can just play matchups the whole time.
Especially against a team like Boston.
Yeah, against a team like Boston. Yeah, because you don't want the team to just play matchups and consistently shut down your 2 scoring lines. I get it. All right. We'll go with that one. I will let that one go. I will let that one go.
Ooh.
All right. So, Philly versus Boston. Do you see the Flyers winning?
I can. I do. I think they could. I think it's going to wind up going to overtime. I think the Flyers will win in overtime.
And you know what? Peaches and cream it up, we will. I say a win in overtime as well. I say a 4-3 win in overtime. It's going to be crazy.
I just think the Flyers, aside from goaltender-wise, I think the Flyers have a better roster. I mean, I like Brad Marchand. I like.
Well, yeah, he's been around for a while.
I like Patrice Bergeron, David
Clearly.
Backes. Like they have really good talent on that Boston roster. I think I like this Flyers team just a little bit better.
Well, I think the Flyers have more. I think they have more talent when you think about it. Boston does have talent. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Boston doesn't have anybody, but a lot of it's the older talent. They're with a lot of the older veterans, guys who were on their Stanley Cup team. They've been around for a while. It's only a matter of time before it's time for them to hang it up. Just like how long are you gonna make the veterans go?
Yeah, like guys like Chara.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's just like how long's Chara got left?
He's like 38, 39 years old or something like that.
I know. He's pretty old. And people forget, Chara's that old. I mean, a lot of people probably say, well, wait a minute. Hasn't he only played with Boston? Incorrect. He actually played with Ottawa for the longest time, in case anyone forgot about that.
And? What's the other team he played for? It's the team that drafted him.
Oh, shit. That's right. He wasn't drafted by Ottawa.
No.
Shit, what was that team that drafted? Wait a minute. Was it? I think it was them. Was it the Ducks?
No.
No, it wasn't the Ducks. No, it wasn't the Whalers. No.
You're getting closer to the right area.
It's not a team that's around anymore, right?
No, they're still here.
Oh. Well, it's the Sabres, was it?
No.
No.
Closer.
Oh, was it Toronto?
No. A little further away.
A little further away?
Yeah. I like this game. Let's keep playing.
A little further. Montreal?
Nope.
No, it can't be Montreal.
Nope. You're getting further away now.
It wasn't Boston, was it?
No.
No, I didn't think so. I didn't think Boston drafted him. Was it the Penguins?
No. Right division.
Devils?
No, but you're a lot closer.
Rangers?
You're even closer.
Islanders?
There you go.
Okay. I was to say, it's definitely not the Flyers. The Flyers never drafted his ass.
No, he was drafted by the Islanders, traded over to Ottawa. I forget who else that Ottawa got. I think that was the deal that sent Alexei Yashin over to the Islanders.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Alexei Yashin. Yeah, that's right. I forgot all about that.
Don't quote me on that, but I think that was the deal.
No, I think you're right, though, because Yashin was on the Senators for a while, and then he went to the Islanders afterwards. He actually was the best player on the Islanders for the longest time because the Islanders had nobody. So
yeah, and then he spent a lot of time in Ottawa.
yes, he did.
Then he went over to Boston, and he's been there dominating ever since.
Yeah.
That guy.
I think a lot of people hate Chara. I do, that's for sure. But anyway.
He's such a tall guy, and it's not even his height that irks me. He picks on the little guy.
He does. I mean, Montreal knows that. But then again, when you're as tall as he is, everybody's a little guy. So... But anyway, like I said, overtime win, though, for Philadelphia against Boston. That's what I got. Brian's got the same thing. So with that being said, let's take a look at what the Flyers have got coming up on their schedule for the week. And this is actually the last game of November for them. So it is the 29th of November. It is their final game of the month. It's the 30th they have off. And they start December 1st off against the Ottawa Senators in the Canadian Tire Center. So we get to go up to Ottawa for a change. Oh, I'm not looking forward to that game. I'm really not looking forward to that game. The Senators, did the Flyers play well against them? They did. But the Flyers cost themselves that game against Ottawa. They really did. Ottawa should have lost that game. The Flyers should have won. That damn defense, again, screwed it up for the Flyers. Now they got to go into Ottawa and try and get 2 points. And that's not an easy place to play. Ottawa is not easy to go into.
No, yeah, Ottawa's the Senators. They're a really good team, and I give them the credit they deserve. Craig Anderson's been playing out of his mind.
Oh, absolutely.
The offense has been good. Defense has been steady. The thing that the Flyers need to do is they need to go over their tape from what they played. What was it, last week against Ottawa?
I believe it was last week. Let me just double check.
Last week against Ottawa and fixed the little mistakes that they made. I mean,
it was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. And what was the final? 3-2?
It was 3-2 in a shootout.
3-2 in a shootout. Okay, yeah, you fixed the little mistakes that you made, and you go out there and you just, you keep shooting the puck on Anderson. Anderson will eventually let him in.
True. I mean, and you don't want to go to the shootout. Do not go to the shootout. You will not win against Craig Anderson in a shootout. I'm sorry. Craig Anderson is too good for shootouts.
Well, in that shootout specifically, I was watching that. Anderson looked good. Mason looked good. Carlson, I believe it was Erik Carlson who came in and put one in off the post. That was the only way that they were going to beat him.
True, but again, just no matter what the Flyers did, man, and they tried a lot of the trick shots. I mean, Ottawa just tried to just shoot it at Mason, but a lot of the trick shots from Philly, Anderson bought none of the bullshit. He just stayed with them the whole time. Just like, I'm sorry. First off, the Flyers aren't good at the shootout anyway. I mean, yeah, the beginning of the season would tell you otherwise, but that was a farce. We all know that. But all I have to say is avoid the shootout by all stretch of the imagination. Do not go to the shootout with Craig Anderson. The man he's also stone cold. He does not get rattled, ever. I've never seen Anderson rattled.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you obviously want to win the game in regulation, and I think that game will wind up being a regulation win for whoever. I'm not even going to think about
who's going to win
right now.
Yeah, but it's definitely not going to be a fun game. Not for Philly, that's for sure. You go into Ottawa, tough place to play, and you got to face a tough team. And then, in case it couldn't get any harder, guess who comes to town on Saturday on December 3rd at an afternoon game start, by the way? The good old Chicago Blackhawks, the three-time defending Stanley Cup champion Chicago Blackhawks, whom the Flyers did play well against in the United Center until the very last minute when they absolutely got their asses blasted. Then they did. They did. I'm going to call me crazy, though, but I could actually see the Flyers winning this game. And the only reason why I say that is when Chicago's had to come to Philly, we've actually not played bad against them in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the third period, because the Flyers don't play a strong 60-minute game, they kept up with Chicago. Chicago, granted, their record is 14-6-3.
Another cup's coming.
Probably, and they got a +7 goal differential.
My God, is anyone going to stop this damn team? Like, seriously.
I'm done. I'm going to chalk that one up as an L. I was going to try and argue it, but I'm not going to.
You know what, though?
Come to my senses.
Don't go crazy, though, because Chicago, last year they came to Philly, and it looked like they were going to beat the Flyers. The Flyers beat them. They even beat the Chicago in the United Center. I mean, a team that really has no business beating them. So even the year before that, the Flyers managed to get an OT win against Chicago and Philly. They haven't played bad against Chicago and Philadelphia. So, I mean, maybe the home field advantage, maybe the home ice will play its favor. Although the afternoon start is a little suspect because last time they had an afternoon start didn't go so well against Tampa Bay.
I mean, I like that. Well, I mean, again, and I argued this to the end of the show last week. They played well against Tampa Bay. They played well against Tampa Bay again in Tampa Bay, but a little defensive flubs cost them that game. Ugh. They just couldn't beat Vasilevsky in that other game.
Yeah, that game in Tampa, man, that pissed me off. I was beyond pissed because that was a game we had. We had it, and that damn defense, it just let it slip right through our goddamn fingers.
That's what they do.
Yeah, sadly. But, hey, that's what the Flyers got coming up. They got Boston tonight, Ottawa on Thursday, and on Saturday they got the Blackhawks back in Philadelphia. Some big Western Conference opponents will be coming in the future. They got Dallas coming up later this month. Nashville's coming, and we're going to go to Nashville. Edmonton's coming to town. That's going to be a big, big matchup there. And all that's happening next week. The matchup against Dallas is going to be crazy. That's another afternoon start. A lot of afternoon starts going on here on these weekends. And then they got to face Detroit.
You want to hear something funny? Fun little tidbit before we go to break?
Yep.
Dallas's goal differential is a -16.
A -16?
Mm-hmm.
How does a team with that kind of offense have a -16 goal differential?
Because apparently they're going to overtime a lot. They got 6 overtime losses.
Oh, shit. Well, whatever happened to their offense, everybody's matching it right now. So they need to step their game up big time if you want to do anything in Dallas.
Minnesota's is at a +16.
Damn.
We'll go over more of this in the next
We'll go over more of that when we go over the standings when we come back. But anyway, first I want to talk to you guys about Liberty Event Rentals. They're located at 2154 East Cambridge Street in Philadelphia, PA. Give them a call, 267-314-7368. They got tables, chairs, tents, linens for all your party and event needs. And they're located at www.libertyeventrentals.com. We are the Hockey Happy Hour, and we'll be right back after this.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215 369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
You're listening to the Hockey Happy Hour, only on A2DRadio.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. And speaking of which, we're brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, your certified public accountants, located 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. Tax season is almost here, so be ready, be prepared. Get Gibson Mayer. And now it's time to go through the ever-so-fun standings of the NHL and go through the Einstein Project of the playoff system. So let's get started with the Eastern Conference and the Metropolitan Division. We get started with, at number 1, the New York Rangers currently, as they've been for a while, sitting at a 15-7-1 record worth 31 points, absolutely killing it right now in the Metropolitan. Meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Penguins coming up in second. They have 13-6-3 as their record, 29 points in total. Washington is third, and my computer shut off. So let me go to the internet for some more information. Don't you love it when technology just dies on you for no reason whatsoever?
I guess that's why the like operator.
Yeah. Very strange. Huh.
All right, so you said you had the Rangers at number 1.
Yep, the Rangers were at number 1. The
Penguins are at number 2, sitting at a 13-6-3 record.
And then number 3 was Washington.
Yep, 13-6-2.
Okay, let me just take a look at the full standings here. Nope, that's not it at all. There we go. Now I gotta wait, because my phone is going to have to load this up. Don't you love it when technology just wants to throw you a curveball at the last minute?
It's a good thing I pulled it up, didn't it?
It is a good thing you pulled it up, because, you know, technology, it's a wonderful thing when it wants to freaking work. But anyway, moving on. Wait for this to load. But so far, though, not much has changed, though, when it comes to the division leaders. New York is first, Pittsburgh second, Washington's third. All right, to the Atlantic. At number 1, the Montreal Canadiens with a 16-4-2 record worth 34 points. Ottawa sits at number 2 with 14-7-1 worth 29 points, still dominating. And Tampa Bay with the rear at 3 with 13-9-1 for 27 points. Moving on to the wild card standings, which currently sees the Columbus Blue Jackets at number 1, who are 11-5-4 at 26 points, and the New Jersey Devils, the Devils, at the second wild card spot at 10-6-5, worth 25 points.
Here's the one thing I want you to notice when looking at the Columbus Blue Jackets in the standings. Not only are they, like you said, 11-5-4, but look at that goal differential.
Oh my God, they're a plus 15 on the goal differential.
Last year, that goal differential was much, much, much lower. So John Tortorella is doing something really with that defense.
He is. Wow, he has just snapped this team into something dangerous right now.
Sergei Bobrovsky is finally 100% healthy, and he's showing it.
And he should still be a freaking Flyer. Stupid mother freaking Paul Holmgren. Dumbass GM that we had. All right, moving on. Enough of that bitter pill. On to the Central Division. In the Central Division, we have Chicago at number 1, sitting at a 14-6-3 record for 31 points. St. Louis is at number 2 with 13-7-3, worth 29 points. Minnesota is 11-7-3, worth 25 points. In the Pacific, Edmonton sits at a 12-9-2 record for 26 points, leading the way. San Jose is at number 2 with a 12-9-1, worth 25, tied with the Los Angeles Kings, who are in third, worth 12-9-1, which is also worth 25, but the row, being 12 for San Jose, boosts them over Los Angeles, who can only put 11 on the row, which is the tiebreaker for positioning.
Now, here's what's scary. Real quick. Rob, during the offseason, stated 2 teams were going to be sleeper teams this year.
Okay.
One being Edmonton, and the other one being Columbus. And I hope you're listening to this, Rob, because I definitely called you crazy for saying that. You might not be so crazy after all.
Yep. You hearing that, Rob? Happy birthday. Brian just gave you his gift. He just admitted he was wrong.
I never said I was wrong.
Oh.
I just said I might be, sorry for doubting his ability.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, to the wild cards we go, the Western Conference. Started off, your Anaheim Ducks, Mr. Daly, are sitting at number 1 with a 10-8-4 record worth 24 points. And the Dallas Stars at second with a 9-8-6 record worth 24 points. So, if the playoffs did start today, here's what the brackets would look like. The New York Rangers would be the second overall leader in the Western Conference, so they would face the second place wildcard team. That would mean a rivalry match between them and the New Jersey Devils.
True rivalry match.
Oh, that's a crazy one. Oh, actually, you know what? I made a boo-boo. I'm incorrect. The New York Rangers would be facing the Columbus Blue Jackets. And the reason being, the first overall leader in the divisions will face the second wild card. So it'd be Montreal versus New Jersey.
You know what? I like that New York-Columbus matchup better.
John Tortorella versus his old team.
Well, not even just that. 2 fairly high-powered offenses.
That is true.
And 2 strong defenses and 2 hell of a goalies.
Yeah, absolutely. That's gonna be that would be a barn burner of a series. That would go 7.
I think that would.
That would go 7. And you know what? Call me crazy, but I actually think Columbus would beat New York. I honestly think
I might
they
call
would.
you crazy on that one.
No. But think about it, though. We've seen this before. The Rangers have dominant seasons, and then when they face a team that they're not supposed to lose to, what do? They lose.
Well, they don't have the greatest head. I mean, don't get me wrong. Alain Vigneault's a hell of a coach, but he's not much of a playoff coach, and he's proven that in years past.
Well, Vancouver's certainly still feeling the effect of that one, that's for sure. Moving on, in the divisional matchups, we have Pittsburgh versus Washington, rematch of last year's semifinal, and we all know what happens here. Sorry, Washington, you're going to bow out gracefully again to Pittsburgh. It would be 6 games, respectably, but yeah, Washington loses the series again. What are you going to do? You going to bet against history? Pittsburgh always beats Washington. It happens all the time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry. I know Washington's got a good team, but Pittsburgh just, whatever it is about Washington, they just eat them alive. They thrive on Washington's hatred. You know how Montreal thrives on Boston's hatred, and that's why Montreal wins all the time when they face Boston? The same thing happens with Washington and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh thrives on it, and they just gobble them up every freaking time. Moving on. To the Atlantic Division matchup, which would be Ottawa versus Tampa Bay. Now, that's going to be a shootout between the two. And what's really going to be the deciding factor in that is goaltending. Who would win the goaltending duel? Would it be Anderson or would it be Vasilevsky? That would be what the big question mark would be on that matchup.
I disagree.
Really?
I think Tampa Bay wins that pretty handily.
Yo, you think they dominate that series?
I think so. 5 games.
5
max.
games? Well, I was going to go 6. I wasn't going to go too crazy. I wasn't going to say 7.
Here's the reason why I'm saying that. Just looking at the standings alone, the point differentials is the reason why Tampa Bay is going to win. Ottawa's at an even 0.
That is true. They are at
Tampa
an even
Bay's at
zero.
a plus
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, you are right on that one. So I will
So
say
with,
that, yeah.
So with Ottawa's giving up just as many goals as they're putting in the net.
That is true. That is very true. And they have been leaky at moments. And if anyone knows how to take advantage of a leaky team, it's those damn Tampa Bay Lightning. That is for sure.
Let it go.
No, I don't let losses go.
I know.
But anyway, moving on to Western Conference matchups. We got the Chicago Blackhawks, who are sitting at the number 1 overall leader in the West. So they would be facing off with the Dallas Stars, which would be a matchup that'd be interesting to see. Be offense versus offense.
I thought it was 1 versus 1.
No, it's actually 1 versus 2. The number 1 overall leader in the conferences faces the lowest wild card seed.
All right, sorry.
Yeah,
we just did
because
it backwards.
we had to face the Rangers that year when we were second wild card.
We just did it backwards. That's why I got confused.
Yeah. So Dallas would face off with Chicago, which I would see Chicago winning.
Yeah.
I think we could safely say that.
Dallas is too, for lack of a better word, fluffy on defense.
Fluffy. Okay, maybe we could say soft.
Soft works.
SAWFT, soft. Anyway.
Soft works. They're giving up way more goals than they're putting in the net.
Yeah.
But yet they're still winning hockey games in 9, 8, and 6. But
Well, how much is that is up to goaltending, you know?
true. I mean, they don't have bad goaltending. But
Yeah, that's the major factor there.
you also got to look at your defense as far as goaltending goes, because your goaltender, is your last line of defense, but your defenseman should never put your goalie in a bad situation.
Absolutely not. You don't put your goalie on an island. And the Flyers know a thing or two about doing that. So
And I think they're starting
you
doing
don't
that a
do
lot, being at a minus 16.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on to the next matchup, Edmonton versus your Anaheim Ducks, Mr. Daly. Do you see your Ducks walking away with a win there?
Listen, I said this in the offseason. I said this as the season started. I'm going to continue to say this. Anaheim, if they make the playoffs, will be a first round out.
So you're going to say Anaheim loses to the Edmonton Oilers.
I'm going to. That's exactly what I'm saying.
How many games?
With their luck, 7.
7.
The streak continues.
All right, then, yeah, I'm going to go with that. Keep the streak going for Bruce Boudreau. Or, no, not Bruce Boudreau.
Randy
Carlyle continues the streak, and it will be a Game 7 loss in overtime to the Edmonton Oilers, just to dig that knife in just a little bit deeper. Moving on.
It burns.
Hey, the Flyers probably won't even make the playoffs at this rate. So
Anaheim probably won't make the playoffs either.
we'll see. It's an
Not
82-game
not
season.
from what I've seen.
But anyway, moving on to our next matchups, which are our divisional matchups, which is St. Louis versus Minnesota. This is the first time in a long time that we're seeing these two teams battle it out in the playoffs. I would say St. Louis, by a very small margin, wins this in a 7-game series.
I predicted this team to be my Stanley Cup champion at the beginning of the season. I'm going to stick with them as St. Louis. I got St. Louis winning this one.
Do you see them winning it in a close battle in 7, or do you see them ending it early?
I could see him ending it early, but then again, Minnesota gave Dallas a run for their money last year.
They did.
So I'm going to go 6.
6. Okay, that's respectable. Moving on to our next divisional matchup, the San Jose Sharks versus the Los Angeles Kings, a rematch of last year's divisional matchup. And I actually expect the same result. I think San Jose actually beats Los Angeles again.
I'm with you on that one. San Jose is a very good team. LA's been a very good team under new captain Anze Kopitar, but defensively, I still think they're a little shaky.
Yeah.
Especially in net. I mean, they still have a good record. I don't know if Quickie's back yet.
I don't think he is, because he was going to be out for a long period of time.
But, they still seem to be winning hockey games under Satkov, so.
I mean, they're doing their job. They're getting it done, so.
I feel like that's going to be their weak point.
Yeah, it would be their weak point because San Jose would have their starter.
Now, granted, we are talking about if the playoffs started today.
If today.
Right.
So,
okay.
Yeah. Now, moving on, we have our semifinals matchups. We might as well just keep this train rolling. And our matchups would be the New York Rangers I actually had the Rangers losing. So I would have the Columbus Blue Jackets moving on,
We
believe it or
can, we
not.
can use your bracket.
All right, so we have the Blue Jackets going up against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Penguins win that one. I mean, yeah, the Blue Jackets pulled off something amazing by upsetting the Rangers, but they don't get through the Penguins. They really couldn't get through the Penguins, even if they wanted to.
Penguins are a good team. They continually show it every year.
Yeah, they would win that, and I would say the Penguins would probably win it in 5. I mean, I give them one win in Columbus, but that's even being favorable. I really think Pittsburgh just handles that series just fine.
I could see Columbus making it a series. 6 or 7.
Okay. All right, moving on. We then have the Montreal Canadiens, who I had them beating the New Jersey Devils. Moving on to face off with the Ottawa. Actually, yeah, I had Tampa Bay actually winning it.
I know I had Tampa Bay. I don't know.
Oh, no, I didn't. I had Ottawa winning it, believe it or not. So I'd have Ottawa versus Montreal. Good matchup right there. Nice rivalry. Montreal wins, though. Montreal beats Ottawa.
Agreed.
So moving on, Eastern Conference Final, Montreal versus Pittsburgh. That's an interesting series. You want to talk about goaltending duel? There's a goaltending duel. Carey Price versus Matt Murray.
It's also a matchup of high-intensity offenses.
Uh-huh. You got the Pat Chiaretti-led Montreal Canadiens against the Sidney Crosby-led Pittsburgh Penguins.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, Pacioretty's a good captain, and he's a great offensive player, and he's done a lot with this offense, but Sidney Crosby's proven. He's been in that situation 3 times before.
Yeah, you know what? I hate to say it, though, but I would say Pittsburgh actually wins this series. And
I think so, too, and they go to the Stanley Cup. But
yeah, it's a 7-game series, though. It's a 7-game series, I feel.
I agree.
Yeah, moving on to the Western Conference real fast. I had Chicago moving on, so their divisional opponent would be the St. Louis Blues. Oh, rivalry match.
No, St. Louis.
Yeah, I'm going to go with St. Louis on that one. I think St. Louis is going to, I think they
St. Louis beat them last year.
Yeah,
and I think they have their number. They can do it again this year.
They continue that trend. Yeah, I think they'd continue it. Moving on, we then have the Edmonton Oilers battling out with the San Jose Sharks. And I'm going to go crazy here. I'm going to say Edmonton actually beats San Jose. I know that might sound crazy, but I think the young kids, I think they might stun the Sharks and go to the Western Conference Final.
If they do, that's the furthest they're going.
No. I'm not saying they're beating St. Louis, but I am saying you can expect the unexpected in the playoffs. I could see that happening. I could really see them beating San Jose and going to the Western Conference Final, shocking the world.
I could see the Sharks going back. Sharks go back. Sharks are a better team. They're a little bit more experienced, and I think that's going to be what really, really wins that series for them.
I got you. I really do think, though, that, when the playoffs happen, man, you got to expect the unexpected, And there's always that letdown when you get to the Stanley Cup Finals. You just wonder when it's going to happen. I think it would happen to San Jose here. I think San Jose, they get to a good start in the series, and then Edmonton just turns it right around and just pulls off an amazing victory out of nowhere. And then our Stanley Cup Finals is the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the St. Louis Blues.
I got the Blues winning. They've been my prediction all year.
I go with the Blues on that one too. I don't think it's a repeat. No team's repeated since the Red Wings did it, and I don't think that's going to continue. I think it's going to continue right now.
I don't think so either. The talent's too spread out in this league, and teams are always seem to be better than they were the year before.
So apparently, from the Hockey Happy Hour's point of view, the St. Louis Blues finally win their very first ever Stanley Cup.
Well, I've been saying that since preseason, so
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying I'm sticking with my pick. I don't want to have somebody comment in and be like, "Oh, you're a fraud." I'd be like, "All right, I know."
Well, we'd all know that people would pounce on it, but you don't accept that. You're like, "Oh, you're a fraud." Like, "Oh yeah, I know." No, you're just like, "No, you're a fraud because you think I'm a fraud, you scumbag." That's what you do.
Just real quick, Nick D'Amelio commented in. He said, I was at the game. Stolarz looked nervous in the first, but played well the rest of the game. Defense needs to step up. 2 goals on a 4-on-5. Come on, guys.
I agree 1,000% on what Nick D'Amelio was saying. 100%. Defense absolutely needs to step up. But real fast before we end this one, quick little news update. Jack Eichel is officially back for all you Buffalo Sabres fans out there. He will be making his debut against the Ottawa Senators tonight. So, hooray for the Buffalo Sabres.
You sound so enthusiastic.
Yeah, you can tell. I'm just so pumped that the Sabres have got their golden boy back. God. Can you tell I hate that team? Anyway, all right, so that will do it for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. It's last call time, and we were brought to you by Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. For Matt Sisudi, Brian Darkwing Daly, we'll see you guys next week on a2dradio.com.
Peace out.